Also, it's such a lovely day out today that I thought that it would be a perfect opportunity to make a video outside, just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Just look at the river. Oh, so beautiful. So lovely out today. Oh, everything's just gorgeous. I would say it's probably about 55 to 60 degrees out right now, or at least it feels that way. It could be colder. I don't really have a good sense of temperature, especially after the winter that Oregon has just had. It's been absolutely awful. We've had so much rain this winter on top of Snowmageddon, because face it, Portland gets any amount of snow whatsoever and it just completely shuts down, which is the dumbest thing ever. Like, Portland, learn how to snow plow. It's not that hard. I mean, you go out to Iowa, they do it all the time. I mean, this winter though, it's just been terrible. We've gotten several snowstorms, which we're not even used to getting a few inches. And then, on top of it, the rain that we've had, we haven't had necessarily more rain, but it's definitely been heavier than we normally have. See, growing up on the Midwest, or in the Pacific Northwest rather, I spent a little bit time out in the Midwest when I was in my more formative years, like until I was probably about 8 or 9. And then we moved out to the Pacific Northwest, and I can tell you from growing up in this area, the rain is not as hard as it has been this year. It's been crazy heavy, and our rivers have been really high this year in comparison to a lot of other years. Now, we haven't had like a super bad year by any means. Like, I think it was back in '92, so that would have been like the year I was born, and I'm 24. I think there was enough rain around here to, you know, cause a flood warning, and you know, my uncle lives on the river just up the ways on the Clackamas, and I think he had to sandbag, but it's been quite a long time since we've had that much rain, or even this much rain. And I lived in Olympia, Washington, and a lot of the storm patterns are the same because it all comes off of the Pacific Ocean, and Olympia, Washington's only a couple hours north of here. So I remember about 10 years ago we got just a massive snowstorm up there, and actually the roof of my school collapsed. And it seems about every 10 years we have just a particularly nasty winter for whatever reason. Now, on the upside at least, we have spring now, which is great. The rain is still really heavy, although it's normally heavy in the springtime around now. So I wouldn't call it particularly abnormal, but I think people are getting pretty tired of the rain around here. They're pretty ready for the sun. I know I am, and that's why I'm trying to spend every moment that I possibly can outside. And of course, so many great things come with spring. I mean, you've got the sun, you've got the beautiful greenery that's coming back to life all over the place. You have, of course, all the animals are reproducing and stuff. So for instance, I'm particularly interested in the frogs in my hometown. There's a little park in the town that I live in. I live in, of course, the Portland metropolitan area, and in that park there's a bunch of little ponds, and in those little ponds, they're temporary ponds, but the frogs like to lay their eggs there, and so do the salamanders. And so I went down there today because it was the first real sunny day that we've had in a while, besides last Sunday, which was pretty nice. But I spent last Sunday relaxing and planting blueberry plants with my father, so Wasn't an option that day, but today I had some time, so I went down there to see what was going on with the frogs, because last year when I had gone down there in probably late spring, early summer, there was just a ton of tadpoles, and made me really happy to go down there, and I found a lot of eggs down there, and I was a little surprised because I wasn't sure I was even going to be able to see them, let alone, you know, find so many of them. And on top of it, it really does appear that most of them are fertilized. I mean, I'm just looking at them for, I don't know much about it, you know, frogs, but I know that when you get two little eyeballs sticking up at you, that it generally means that the egg is fertilized. So I'm pretty excited. It seems to me to suggest that we're going to have another healthy year around here. I know in particular the Clackamas River is pretty healthy, and I think the main reason for that, of course, is that it runs right off of of Mount Hood, essentially, in that area, up from those hills. I don't know, maybe not Mount Hood specifically, but up that way. And so there's just not as many people out there, so of course we're gonna have a less polluted river. There's just not a lot going into this river. The only thing that really kind of disappointed me when I went down to that little park where the frogs are at is that there was a stream that fed into a pond where there was a couple ducks were hanging out, and but the stream was fed from, I think, probably, I don't know, somewhere off the road, or maybe a sewer system or something, or just a water drain. But I went over and looked in that pond that was being fed by that stream instead of the standing water, which had been gathered and collected from the rain between the rocks and stuff. When I went over there, I didn't see any frog eggs, and the top of the water had a little bit of a film on it, and I think mainly that's like, you know, from being off of the road and whatnot, you know, kind of like oil slick, and it's just, you know, very, very lightly, nothing you could clean up or anything, but it's disappointing. It's like, oh, the only way that the frogs are able to reproduce is that we have so much rain here. That's kind of sad, but at the same time, you know, that's the pros and cons of living in society, especially in this day and age. And if you think about it, our technology is really, really spectacular, and we're improving it every day. And you know, I don't think anybody out there believes that we should be harming the environment or hurting the animals or anything like that. And so it's a shame that it's happening, but it's also, you know, just one of the cons of our society, you know, a con which, you know, I think we all recognize that there needs to be solutions for. It would be nice to have cleaner water supplies, and not just here, but all over the world. You know, stories in India of, you know, literally you could set the water from the river on fire. It's crazy. So obviously there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but I'm just particularly happy today. I'm trying to focus, you know, on the positives. You know, you can focus on the negatives of worldwide, how we need to take care of the environment, which is true. So yeah, lots of frogs this year. I'm really, really excited to see the frogs. I'm afraid I went off on a rabbit trail, and I'm not sure where I was going with that, so I apologize for that. Lots of thoughts I feel like I didn't connect very well. But yeah, I'm really excited with the frogs. Obviously, it means that something in our environment is healthy. At least the rain's healthy. The Pacific Ocean seems to be fairly healthy. God, it's just so beautiful out today. I'm getting really distracted really easily because the sun is so distracting to me right now. We obviously just don't get enough sun here. It's just like, oh dear God, where did you go? Don't leave us again. And it's really funny because by the end of June, they're just like, where's the rain? We want the rain back. Bring it back. Anyway. And the other thing about the frogs, why I like the frogs so much and why I keep bringing back is it always ties back to me, for me, like, and I know this is really dumb, but like, there's so much that's like unexplainable in our world, and I really do believe that there's some sort of spiritual element to our world, and I don't know what that is exactly, and I'm not saying it's a god or anything like that. It could just be the collective, you know, psychic energy between peoples, and that sounds really fucking out there and hippie-ish and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't think it's that far out there. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with people being able to communicate with each other, though, too. And we're able to, and I don't know what it is exactly, but this whole idea of like this god of chaos, Kek, you know, and then Pepe. You know, what is the meme I've seen on the internet? It's like, let me tell you about Kek or something about Kek being the Lord and Savior, or something like that, and Pepe being his prophet. But so that's one of the reasons why I'm so fascinated with the frogs, is just like this whole phenomenon that is like resurrecting the concept of the god of chaos and Kek and all of that, and the meme magic with the Pepes and the whatnot. And I don't know, it's almost in my head, it's kind of like, if I see that the frogs down on the river are having a good year, it's like I'm thinking to myself, well, I think as you know, the internet people, the trolls, and the anti-establishment, anti-elitist people out here who are making videos and all of those things, I think we're just gonna have a great year this year too, especially from what I've seen of the real frogs. I don't know, I just relate the two, and I know it's stupid, but it makes me happy, and I like the thought, and I think that's what's important. It's just like, these are thoughts that give me a sense of spirituality, and I think it's so dumb that, you know, us as humans, for whatever reason in our society, have decided that spirituality is just completely pointless. I don't think it is. I think it's really important. Otherwise we just get nihilistic and hopeless, and it's not a fun way to live, and I think it breeds a lot of mental illness, and yeah, just a lot of things that our society is not focusing on that it should be focusing on. And of course, it always gets back to problems, and I want to be happy and positive, you know. And so I think it's going to be a good year for us, though, in terms of maybe solving these problems. And, you know, you see it already happening right now. It's like, you're watching Trump, for instance, get rid of people who shouldn't be working in the White House or in that situation or whatever, incompetent people. You see him trying to follow through on all of his promises. You see a lot of the solutions, and you see the mainstream media just completely tearing itself apart, especially with that stupid tax return thing that they tried to pull, which was just the dumbest thing ever. And so yeah, I just think this just looks like it's going to be a really good year. It's going to be a really healthy year, especially here in Portland. We've had so much rain. I'm sure a lot of the toxins and the pollutants and all that stuff has gotten washed out of the system. Maybe the Willamette's a little healthier. I have no idea. I kind of doubt it. The Willamette's one of those rivers that go for a really long time. And, I mean, you have the Willamette all the way down in Eugene. You know, it passes through Eugene, and that's a few hours south of here. And the Willamette comes all the way up through Portland into the Columbia. That is not a very clean river, which is unfortunate. And just the other day, I was down there along the Willamette, and there were signs posted saying, don't touch the water because it's polluted by a ruptured sewer line. It's like, oh great, when are you guys gonna fix that? Anyway, it's just such a nice day out. If you're in Portland, I would suggest getting out and enjoying the sun because it's wonderful. Getting that vitamin D to, you know, lift those spirits, especially if you've got any sort of seasonal depression. And just know that the trolls of the internet, the Pepes of the world, the frogs out there, we're working our magics to try to make this whole country and situation better. We got Donald Trump elected. We just gotta get like Le Pen elected next. So let's work on that. And I mean, we got Brexit too, so let's do it. Let's make shit happen. All right, I think I'm done rambling. Bye. Didn't work.